Okay, but what if my cats could recommend you some books? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have got my amazing cat jumper on that my fabulous mother-in-law made for me last year because I thought I'd do this really fun little video. Just before we get into it, I have got all 3 cats running around today, so if there is a higher level of chaos than usual, I do apologise. So a few weeks ago now, I think I asked on Instagram, which is always linked in the profile, by the way, if you want to come and follow me over there, for video ideas. And I was kind of asking if there's anything specific people wanted to see or what they thought might be fun. And I'm pretty sure it was the lovely Laura at Laura's Bookish Thoughts who said, it was Amy at Amy Myers said, recommend books based on your cat's personalities. And I was like, I love this idea. So here we are. I'm going to move into the centre of the frame. In case you don't know, I have 3 cats. They are all black cats. They were all adopted individually from the Bath Cats and Dogs home, which I will link in the description because I've had a few people ask lately if they can like send cat toys and stuff or treats, which is so lovely, but our cats have so much. They have such a good little lives. But there are obviously loads of animals that still need help and love and treats and stuff. So I will leave the donation link for Bath Cats and Dogs home in the description if you want to go there and donate to them instead of sending my overly pampered pets more stuff that they don't need. We adopted Jack 4 years ago, just after we got married. He's about 6 and he is our biggest cat. You have to kind of use both arms to lift him and like bend from the knees, and he's definitely a mummy's boy. He likes to come for cuddles with me in the evening. He is very much into his routine. He does not like change. And I'll talk more about that in a minute because we've had a big change recently that he's not really enjoying yet. And he's very food orientated. If you want him to do something, getting the snacks out is probably the way forward. Then at the start of this year, so in January, we adopted Molly, who is this tiny little, very dainty cat. You can scoop her up in one hand. She's kind of, it's almost like she's got bird bones because she's so tiny, there's like nothing of her. And she is kind of our resident cutie. We were told that she was 2 when we adopted her, but I don't think she was any more than 6 months old because she was absolutely tiny. And over the last couple of months, she suddenly had a growth spurt. So I think she's about a year old now, possibly 18 months at a push. But she is our very cute kind of kitteny cat. And then in August on my birthday, and I will link my August vlog so that you can see, we adopted Savannah, who has come in like a wrecking ball. She is short-haired, massive attitude, lots of energy. At the time of filming this, she's not allowed outside yet. We've got another week before she can go outside. If you can hear creaking upstairs, it's probably one of the cats running around. And she has earned the nickname Savage because she's very loving, and she's very like, all of our cats are like people cats, and I don't know how we've lucked out because I know a lot of cats can be really aloof. All 3 of ours like to be where the people are, to quote Ariel. And Sav loves being around the humans. In terms of getting on with the other cats, Jack and Molly are now a bonded pair. Like, they will nose boop, which in cat language is the I love you sign. It's like the sign of ultimate trust. So they are best pals. Savannah, I think it's because she's got so much energy. The other 2 I think are struggling a little bit, but we're hoping when she goes outside in about a week's time that will help kind of calm her down. Her and Molly have done okay. We've had one small spat actually whilst I was filming this morning. If you saw the rainbow tag that I did, which will have gone up the week before this, I had to stop filming because Molly had got her claws out, which is very unusual, but I think in her defence she was overtired and Sav was just being annoying. Jack is not impressed with the new addition. He's been very hissy and very vocal. But again, we're kind of hoping once Sav is outside and we don't have to deal with litter trays anymore and everyone can just come and go as they please, that things will settle down. So those are the 3 cats. As I said, they're all black cats. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you will see them all the time. I'm forever posting pictures. I quite like doing on Instagram, I will post a picture of one of them and be like, who am I? And then have people guess, because that's always quite fun. But yeah, I thought I'd recommend some books based on their personality. It just seemed like such a good idea. So I've got 6 books. I've got 2 for each cat. Let's get into it. So first up is, who have I got first? Jack, as he's the original. So Jack, as I've said, is very, very food orientated. So my first recommendation is Hungry Hearts. This is 13 Tales of Food and Love, and it's edited by Elsie Chapman and Caroline Tung Richmond. And I read this last year, I think, or the year before, and absolutely adored it. It's, as it says, it's 13 interconnected short stories. They're all set on Hungry Hearts Row, which is this fictional town, and each story is centered on a different restaurant or like food cart or whatever. And they do kind of link up, like you start to recognize people in the background and other characters that come in. Most of them are cozy and cute. There are two that have a definite edge, and one of those two goes to a really dark place. But if you like descriptions of food and you like short stories, I would highly recommend this. Also, if you've never read a short story collection and you want to try one, I would say this is a really good place to start because they interconnect really, really well. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is definitely due for a reread. And yeah, Jack is so food orientated. I had to pick this for him. Now got Molly on a scratching pad over here, which is interesting because I've never seen her use a scratching pad before. She likes the post, but I've never seen her on a pad. So that's an interesting development. So yeah, that's my first Jack book. And then the second one I've gone with is because he can be a bit of a grump, and he loves a routine and he hates when his routine is disturbed. So for the second pick for him, I've gone for Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the third book in the Brown Sister trilogy. And the romantic lead in this, I've forgotten his name, Jacob, is very rigid. It says Jacob Wayne is always in control. The uptight B&B owner expects nothing less than perfection from his employees. So when a purple-haired tornado of a woman applies for his open chef position, he tells her the brutal truth, not a chance in hell. Then she hits him with her car, supposedly by accident. And I feel like, oh, hi, Molly, you coming to film? She's like, no, I'm not. She doesn't like being picked up in the day. She's really funny. She's super cuddly at night, but in the daytime, she's like, no, stay away from me. So I feel like that's kind of describing Savannah and Jack quite well. I mean, I'm not expecting them to fall in love and have a big like enemies to lovers romance. I mean, if that happens, then great. But I feel like Jacob is kind of Jack in human form. Next up, we have Molly, and who, as I said, is our little dainty creature. She is, however, a serial killer. So she likes to bring dead stuff in, and I suspect Savannah's going to be the same. I think we're going to get a lot of presents from those two, but Molly is a big hunter. She likes to kill things. She also likes to kind of pull them apart. We often get just the body and no head, and so when I was looking at my shelves, this was the first book that jumped out at me because she is definitely Sweet Pea. So this is Sweet Pea by CJ Skews, and we are following Rhiannon, who is a serial killer. She looks very ordinary. She's got a very ordinary job. She lives in a little flat with her boyfriend. They've got a little dog. Her life looks very kind of run-of-the-mill, nothing to kind of jump out at anybody. But in her spare time, Rhiannon kills people, mostly for fun. And so I thought this was a brilliant recommendation for Molly. These books are super dark. There's 3 of them at the moment. You can see the other 2 here, so In Bloom and then Deadhead. I think there are 2 more coming. I agree that the first one, Sweet Pea, is definitely the strongest. I still enjoy the others, but this one is always fun. And she has these kill lists at the start of several chapters, and it's all kind of like people that have annoyed her. So someone who's like cut her up at the roundabout, or the supermarket worker who like squeezed her bread as they were putting it through the checkout. And she's one of those serial killers that's really relatable. You kind of find yourself like laughing and agreeing with her, and then it's like, whoa, okay, she's talking about dismembering people. So yeah, these are super dark, but they are also funny. They are also books that kind of make you think a little bit. She is dealing with a lot of trauma from her past, and that is definitely woven in. But yeah, in terms of Molly, I had to recommend Sweet Pea. Then the other book I'm going to recommend for her, I was kind of talking with Gary about it, and I was like, I don't know what else to recommend for Mole. And he was like, well, she's our smallest cat. And I was like, a short book. So this is The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Mass. I read this earlier this year. As you can see, it's very small and it's very dark, because Molly, even though she's small and cute, she's definitely got a dark, dark soul in there. This one is set in 1885 in Paris, and we are in an asylum, and a wealthy young woman is put there basically because she is making too much trouble, and it's about the Mad Woman's Ball, which is this event. One evening a year, the asylum is opened up to the elite of Paris, who come for this massive party. This is incredibly dark, as is the Amazon film, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was a good adaptation, but it's super dark, so check trigger warnings before you pick it up. But I just thought, this is a beautiful little book. It's short, it's dark, it's very Molly, and it's also one that I think I gave it 5 stars, so would highly recommend. And then last up we have the wrecking ball herself, Savannah. So she, when I was talking to Gary, I was like, she's definitely a strong woman. She knows what she wants and she knows what she doesn't want. So for that one, I'm picking Circe by Madeline Miller. I feel like Sav is a survivor. She was found abandoned in a shipping container with her babies, and once her babies had grown up and gone to their own families, she was then put up for rehoming, and I saw her, I think, on the first day. She was on the website, we brought her home. So she's definitely a survivor. She knows how to look after herself, and she is very direct. She will tell you what she wants and she will go and get it. So she's definitely a kind of witch in that woman in total control of herself way, and that I think fits in with the witch elements of Circe. So yeah, recommending Circe. This is obviously a Greek retelling. It's been massively famous. It's been everywhere. It's telling the story of Circe, who was a minor figure in most Greek mythology stories, but she was in the background or part of lots of bigger stories. And so Madeline Miller gives her her own space and her own voice. It's also one of the most beautiful books that I own. And then finally, Sav is also incredibly nosy. Whatever you're doing, she wants to be involved. She wants to have a look. She wants to be in amongst it. And so I just had to recommend a Miss Marple. I've gone with 13 Problems. I haven't read loads of Marple. I think I've read 2 or 3 from the series so far, but I really want to read more. But this is the one that I've enjoyed most so far. And I think it's mostly because this again is short stories. But every so often Miss Marple just pops up at the end and she's like, well, it was obviously that. And then she just sits back down with her knitting, and it just makes me laugh every time. So this is the Tuesday Night Club. I always want to say Thursday Murder Club now because of Richard Osman. But basically Miss Marple's gathered a whole load of people in her house and they're telling stories around the fire, and they have to tell a story that's never been solved, about a crime that's never been solved, and then they try and solve the crime. And it's always Marple that pops up at the end and is like, well, that was the killer, obviously, and then she sits back down. And I just love it, and I feel like that would be Sav all over. So those are the books that I'm going to recommend based on my various cat personalities. I hope this has been fun. I just thought it was an interesting way to do a recommendations video. As I said, if you want to know more about the cats or see more of them, you can either watch my monthly wrap-ups, because I've always got clips of them in there, or come and follow me on Twitter or Instagram, because I am always posting pictures of them when they're doing funny things or cute things or all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, come and follow me over there if you want to see more of them. If you got to this point, leave me the black cat emoji, seems appropriate. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone, bye.